So good day everyone. I am Salamat Chi Mahmoud and I am going to discuss about dissecting and demystifying organizational climate and culture towards empowerment and social gender equality and justice. So before we were going to start, our objectives is to be able to know what is organizational cultural and organizational climate, to be able to understand what is different between organizational culture and climate, to be able to be know what gender issues in workplace. Lastly, to be able to be know how to prevent issues in the workplace. So what is organizational culture? Organizational culture is a set of values, beliefs, behaviors, customs, and attitudes that govern how people behave within organizations.
So, organizational culture, ito yung nag-provide ng boundaries and guidelines para malaman or para ma-help ang employees is ng isang organization or to know the correct way of performing their job. In order to do the job correctly and to have an effortless and perfect job. That's why we have this what we call organizational culture. Kung saan heto yung nagsiset or dito inisiset yung values or standard ng isang organization.
The cultures of an organization provides boundaries and guidelines that help the employees of the organization to know the correct way of performing their job. The culture of an organizational is ingrained in the behavior of the employees within an organization, and in a way it shows the personality of the organization. The unique culture of the organizations create a distinct atmosphere that is felt by the people who are part of the group. This atmosphere is known as the climate of the organization. Type of organizational culture. So there are four types of cultures that can be identified in organizations as a follow. First is clan culture. Clan culture is where employees are behaving as an extended family, mentoring, nurturing, and participation can be seen.
So in clan culture, heto yung for example, yung manager is merong pake or concern sa kanyang employees. For example, yung mga business na nagwo-work sila together and they work para maangat yung business nila. So for example, yung mga small businesses yung family yung nagpapalago ng sarili nilang business.
Second is adhocracy culture. It is where employees of the organization are dynamic, risk-taking, and innovative.
Yung adhocracy culture is, for example, is like sa organization that create mobile games or companies. So, di ba, meron silang tinatawag na maintenance sa company or sa games. So, just to ensure to meet the needs of their customer.
Next is marketing-oriented culture. It is where employees are result-oriented and focus on the job, competition, and achievement.
Sa marketing-oriented culture naman, example here is a big company. For example is Louis Vuitton, Gucci. Nagpapaunahan sila kung sino yung maunang magpalabas ng new brand nila. For example na rin sa phone like iPhone and Samsung. So, paunahan sila sa paglalabas ng kanilang product. But why? Because yung mga bumibili kasi is nag-aantay ng new product in which is pasok sa quality na inaasahan nila to the next product na ilalabas.
Next is the hierarchically oriented culture. It is where the employees undergo a read structures, controls, formal rules, and policy. So they expect to maintain stability, consistency, and uniformity in their process.
Sa hierarchically oriented culture, heto na yung mga companies sa mga financial health and healthcare.
Next is what is organizational climate. Organizational climate is about the perception and feelings of each regarding the culture of the particular organization. The climate of an organization is subject to change frequently with the direct influence to top management within the organization. Organizational climate is much easier to experience and measure than organizational culture.
Organizational climate is ito yung nangyayari within the organization. Ito yung atmosphere on organization. Like kung maayos ba ang pamamalakad ng isang organisasyon, so bale maayos rin ang culture doon.
Types of organizational climate. There are different types of climate that have been created by the culture of the organization that can be categorized as the follow. First is people-oriented climate, or it is a climate that focus on perceptions of individuals who are working in the organization.
So, heto yung may pakiramdam ang bawat isa or concern. Yung boss more concern siya sa kung ano man yung nararamdaman ng kanyang employee. So, dito is like walang competition na nangyayari kasi like gusto nyo na isuporta yung bawat isa.
Second is rule-oriented climate. It is the climate based on established ruled policy and produces in organization.
So, dito is there is law of policy within the organization.
Third one is innovation-oriented climate. It is a climate that encourages creative or new ways of doing tasks. Lastly is goal-oriented climate. It is a climate that focuses on achieving organizational goals. Organizational culture versus climate. So the difference between organizational culture and organizational climate is that the culture is about the norms, values, and behavior adopted by the employees within organizations, while the climate is about the atmosphere of the organizational that is created based on the culture. Organizational culture and climate differ from one organization to another.
Palagi natin tandaan, like if the organizational culture is present the personality of organizational or organization, then the climate change certainly the reflect of its mode. Gender-based sexual harassment in the workplace, including the following: A. Or first, unwelcome sexual advances, requests, or demand for sexual favors, or any act of sexual natures, verbally, physically, or through the use of technology that has or could have a detrimental effect on the condition of an individual's employment or education, jobs, performance, or opportunities. B. Or second, conduct of sexual nature and others' conduct based on sex affecting the dignity of a person in which unwelcome, unreasonable, and offensive to the recipient verbally,
physically or through the use of technology. Lastly, letter C, a conduct that is unwelcome and pervasive and create an intimidating, hostile, or humiliating environment for the recipient. Ways to prevent issues in the workplace. First is promoting transparency, openness in all transactions. Second, adapting policy on the proper office attire. Third, adapting policy on overtime and field work. Fourth, discouraging the mountain of indecent and sexual provocative pictures. Fifth, arranging office layout to prevent physical contact with office workers. Sixth, education or developing awareness of employees on dealing with sexual harassment incidents through training or regular symposium.